Okay, good morning. Welcome to the Marion County Board of Commissioners meeting. It's Wednesday, June 13th, 2018. We're in the Senator Hearing Room here at Courthouse Square, and we begin our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you join us? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, it's so nice when we have people with us in the Senator Hearing Room, and to have our Marion County employees here. I'm almost getting all choked up. It was just a beautiful experience here just a minute ago. So, we are here this morning to present awards. There are Vision Awards first, and then the Chief Administrative Officer Teamwork Award. So let's start with the Vision Awards presentation, unless you want to do the Teamwork one first. Do you want to do?
Go ahead.
All right. So should we go down?
Yeah.
Alrighty. So this is the Vision Award. I'm going to put my glasses on. Sorry. I know. And it is presented to 2 employees for customer service, professionalism, integrity, and stewardship. And I guess it's not a surprise because it was actually online. So it's going to Annette Jensen and Jennifer Pastorino. It says Annette and Jennifer have worked tirelessly to create safe and supportive housing opportunities for individuals in Marion County. At the same time, they have successfully managed the other aspects of their individual workloads. It is remarkable that they have been able to carry out this task in one of the most difficult rental markets to date. Jennifer and Annette have shown dedication in helping others by using a creative solutions approach. They have exercised expert skills and knowledge and taken an idea and turned it into a reality. While working on this project, they practiced the same skills on their daily workload. They finished the tasks they started, they took responsibility and the lead and made sure the project was completed with the anticipated and desired outcomes. Their use of what's that say? Anyway, they have been efficient through an innovative idea while collaborating with a new community partner to serve the citizens of Marion County. So if Annette and Jennifer could come forward. So we have to make sure we get the right one to the right one. So Annette, which one are you? You're Annette, okay. And Jennifer?
You can read these individually?
No, that's what I just read. That's what they get.
But they say really nice things.
They say, yeah. I was just reading it, but I didn't want this read out loud about me.
Well, Doreen said that everything was in there.
Okay.
Is that right? Were there different things in
Come
there?
in, please. Three, two. Oh, we're supposed to go 1, 2, 3?
That's good, I got you.
You sure, HP? Only takes 20 of them.
Yeah. He's got his own Thank you. Do you want this?
Smile, John.
This is a happy moment, John.
First thing you said to me, where's your suit? Not good morning.
When I came to Marion County, one of the things I was thought maybe we could do, which we tried at the state and miserably failed, was create a more enterprise approach to how we manage county government. And an enterprise approach is really about teamwork among counties, agencies, and breaking down silos. And we've done a lot of that here in Marion County. I think we're well known now around the state for being one of the best integrated counties around. So I started a long time ago this award for folks that work as a team across county department lines. I started out calling this the Tinker to Evers to Chance Teamwork Award, but nobody knows who those folks are.
I did, Joe.
And they tried to, there were jokes about, I lived back in 1928, so I knew about the Cubs. First, at that time, it was the only World Series win. But Tinker to Evers a Chance, you have to understand I play baseball. And so baseball, you can probably gather from my height and my size that I was not going to play football or basketball. But, and I was a second baseman. Joe Tinker was a shortstop for the Cubs in 1928. Evers was a second baseman, and Chance was the first baseman. And they were lauded in newspapers as being one of the best teams in terms of their work on the field that any there had ever been. And so I called the award that the Tinker to Evers a Chance, because anybody who knows anything about baseball knows that saying, Tinker to Evers a Chance. Of course, you're all so young that you would never have heard it before, but you've heard it now. So there. But I think it's important to understand the reason I'm doing this is I'm really awarding people to working with their fellows in other departments, because it's really important to me and to the commissioners that we do operate as an enterprise rather than a whole bunch of silos. And we work very hard to do that. So I have my friend here, Gordine's going to help me with this. And I'm going to read off the names of the folks that we have that are getting this award. I don't know whether everybody here is supposed to be getting it, but these are the ones we were told. Oh, what's this about? I did forget one minor detail. It seems that our health department decided that with a new director, they needed to do a strategic plan. They needed to reorganize the department. It happens to be the largest department in terms of personnel. And so to reorganize the health department is really a major task. It takes a lot of people to do that, not just in the health department, in IT, in HR, in accounting, in payroll. A whole lot of people had to change a whole lot of things to make this work. Not only did they change the name of the department, but they moved some of their divisions around too, which means that the whole accounting system had to be rearranged. And people had new supervisors, so payroll had to be changed, HR had to be changed. It was an interesting process, which we, by the way, have documented, so if we ever have to do it again, we know how to do it. Hopefully I won't be here then when we do it again. But it was an interesting task, and a lot of people worked very hard to make it work, and it was amazing to me how quickly we were able to bring in, I say we, I had nothing to do with it, but how quickly folks were able to put this together and make it work. And so that's what this Teamwork Award is about, for the health department's internal systems reorganization. It was a major task, and I think most of us had no idea what it was going to take until it started. So the team members, will start with Brenda Phillips in Business Services, Camber Slag in Finance. You might want to hold your applause, there's a lot of them here. Camber Slag in Finance, Cindy Johnson with a BOC. Where's Cindy? There she is. Cindy Chitka with Finance. Cynthia Granatier with Finance. Eric Hendrick with IT. Eric Reed with IT. Eric Sanders with finance. Erica, I'm sorry. Try to call you Eric. Yango, oh boy. I know Longo, but I can't pronounce his last name. He's not here, is he? No. Jacob Klotfelder with finance. John McDowell with telecom. Justin Ford with finance. Justine Flora with benefits. Lori Steele, the treasurer. Morgan LaFrance with IT. Perry Greer with finance. Ryan Matthews with the health department. And Sachin.
Lori, isn't that nice?
Sachin, how do you pronounce your last name? I know he's here. Okay, good job. So, thank you all for the hard work that you did. There may be others here that worked on this project, but your name wasn't given to me, so too bad. We'll try and talk about that later. So we have these little awards here for everybody, and Gordine is going to help me pass these out. Why don't you just pass them out, Gordine? Or maybe I better help, or it'll take forever. Okay. There you go.
Do I know?
Make sure when
Should we stand up?
Yeah.
Sam says.
when
You want-
Gordine and I make a great team.
just say,
Unfortunately, we won't make a great team for much longer. My friend Gordine is going to retire, which is a shame for all of us, and particularly for me, because she's done such a great job with this.
So what is in the
the
jar?
gifts of hospitality.
Thank you so much, all of you.
Three, two. It's a long count of three, HB.
Didn't flash. So, John, are you done?
No.
Oh, good.
There is a, there, folks, get chastised for not using this. There's also a team that works to create, help with these team awards. And we get, a lot of these awards that we give to our employees are sent in from department heads or other employees. And we have a group that actually sits down and looks through those applications for awards and helps us decide which ones are the best and deserving of these awards. So I'm going to give a teamwork award to that team. And of course, the person that really helps put it all together is Gordine Ash. And working with her is Tracy Fisk from Business Services, Jody Field, who's now with the clerk's office, used to be with Business Services. Zugi Luna, is Zugi here? Zugi, excuse me.
Well, good morning. This is
Not here.
nice.
Oh, good. And she didn't hear me mispronounce her name.
Good morning.
And she's with the health department. Cynthia Klein with IT, Jennifer Scales and Jolene Bray, Public Works, Sarah Zavala with the Sheriff's Office, and Rex Weisner with the Tax Office. So, come on down.
Get over these.
Is John going to come over here too? He
I
should.
don't know that. Pass them out first.
It's like dad giving out graduation.
So slide them over, Tash, it's not balanced.
No, slide them over. There you go. Balance it out by you moving. Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Not 1, 2, 3.
So John, you're in the middle, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yep. I can see you. As long as I can see you, you can see me.
Let's just stand behind John, then you can be seen.
3, 2, 1.
Well, the flash works.
See?
Hey.
3, 2, 1 is the magic number.
Thank you all very much. You know, I've been here almost 15 years, and one of the things that's really important to me are the employees. You folks do such a great job for the county and for the folks who we all work for. So thank you all for coming and for what you do.
Thank you.
So, John, were you going to explain how you're going to give the boards awards in private, or?
What?
Especially your favorite, Kevin, you're going to just let that slide? Come on.
Kevin doesn't get an award.
Till he wears a suit.
I gotta get in the dog dummy suit again.
Right. Okay, so let's just take a minute
you,
break
everybody.
here to let everyone who wants to go. You're welcome to stay. But if you want to escape, now is your chance. Thank you.
How many names did we miss? Okay.
All right. That was fun. So we'll move right into our consent agenda today. And Commissioner Cameron, I believe you're on deck for consent.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll move first under business services that we approve the recommendation to adjust pay grade upward for class code number 109 electrical inspector and number 112 plumbing inspector. Also under business services, approve an order appointing Joan Oliver as a voting management representative to the Health Insurance Study Committee. Under Public Works, approve an order reappointing Bonnie Sullivan to the Solid Waste Advisory Council with a term ending July 31st, 2022. And under the Treasurer's Office, approve an order authorizing the Treasurer to invest surplus county funds.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any comments? I just want to comment, Bonnie Sullivan has been a faithful member of the Solid Waste Advisory Council for many, many years. She comes to all the meetings. She scrutinizes the bylaws, makes sure that the minutes are all correct. She's a pretty amazing person, so I'm
Yep.
very pleased that she's accepting another term to the Solid Waste Advisory Council. So with that, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 And those items are approved. Now, we just have a couple items under action. The first one is under business services. Consider approval of the lease agreement for $182,770.05 to allow the Sheriff's Office to lease office space with Fairway Development Group, Inc. And Larry Tilford, you are here. So you have to explain to us, too, why it's 5 cents.
Over the period of time, I think that's just the way it broke out, Commissioner. Good morning, everyone. I'm Larry Tilford, Facility Program Manager for the county. I'm here to present a new lease agreement on behalf of the Sheriff's Department for space in Woodburn. Because the current site that they occupy on Glatt Circle, that lease is expiring at the end of June. So we're able to find a new location that's convenient. It's just off the freeway and just off the highway. It's a storefront property and will house both parole services and sort of a satellite location for patrol services as well. It's about 1,600 square feet. We're doing just a little bit of tenant improvements to it, a couple of walls and a couple of doors to create office space in the large area in the back. Otherwise, it's very straightforward, and we're seeking your approval. I'm happy to answer any questions about it if I may.
So we had a space kind of on Highway 99, and we're not using that space anymore, is that right?
That expires in June.
Okay, so we're leaving that one, going to this one?
That's right.
And this is a better location, or is why the change in location? Just
Actually, it is a better location, but the answer to that question, I think, is that when the lease agreement was initiated for Glatt Circle 2 or 3 years ago, it was set for only that short term, and the owner of the property in this last year started making inquiries and got a new tenant lined up. So we lost the lease in effect at the end of the term. And just had to find something new. We were fortunate because there really isn't much available property in Woodburn area, as it turned out.
Right. Okay,
So,
very good. Any questions?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Latimer?
didn't the old, or the lease that's expiring, wasn't that place near the health department? Offices there?
it's probably 2 miles away.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So the new one is,
The new one is right off the freeway. If
so
you know-
it's further away.
There's a Colonel Sanders off the freeway on the highway there, and it's very close to that.
Okay.
All right,
Okay, Madam Chair, if I could, I'd make a motion that we do approve the Fairway Development, the lease with Fairway Development Group LLC in Woodburn.
I'll second the motion.
okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the lease agreement with Fairway Development Group, Inc. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 That's approved, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And the second and last action item is under Public Works. Consider approval of the incoming funds intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation for $2,355,412.50 to provide federal funds for the Lancaster Drive project. And Brian Nicholas is here. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Nicholas, Public Works Capital Projects Manager. The county has been awarded some federal funds through the SCATS MPO to construct some urban improvements on Lancaster Drive between Center Street and Monroe Avenue. And you have before you for consideration approval of the intergovernmental agreement for that project. So I'm here to present some information about the project and answer any questions that you have. All right. So here's a little vicinity map, gives you an idea where this project is at. I'll use the cursor here as my pointer. So here's I-5, so we're looking at northeast Salem. Here's Lancaster Drive, and the project is between Center Street and Monroe Street, and it includes the intersections here at Monroe Street. Here's a close-up view of that stretch between Center Street and Auburn Road. Lancaster Drive is a road that has numerous problems or numerous issues, and it's a high-volume corridor to boot. And throughout the years, both the city and its jurisdiction and the county and our jurisdiction, we've made improvements along the corridor, and this is an opportunity to advance, march down Lancaster Drive and make some more of those improvements. But here are some of the issues that are in play. Up and down Lancaster, we still have areas where we have these very deep valley gutters, and that requires vehicles to slow down to go in and out of those driveways. And sometimes it really catches drivers behind them by surprise. So it leads to more than your average number of rear end collisions because of that. Folks don't quite expect people to get down to such a creeping movement to get into those driveways. So that's one of the big issues with this section of the corridor. This part of the corridor has long sections of asphalt sidewalk, none of which are ADA compliant, some of which are barely even passable by a motorized scooter, probably not passable by an unmotorized wheelchair, and a lot of steep driveways to boot, and those are pretty difficult for folks in wheelchairs or scooters to traverse those. We're starting to see quite a bit of pavement distress on this segment of the corridor, so it's time to get in there and do some pavement repairs. And then we have a bunch of miscellaneous things like this, where we'll have to bring these up to ADA compliance. That's not an ADA compliant ramp. It'd be hard to get a walker by that pole, let alone a wheelchair. So this is a list of the items that we're going to be addressing with the project. First, we will be replacing all of those asphalt sidewalks and driveways, so those will be brought up to current standards. We have a lot of segments of failing concrete sidewalks and driveways, and those will be brought up to standards and replaced as well. We'll fix those valley gutters so it's much easier to get in and out of those business entrances and reduce the traffic hazard there. Because it's a federal aid project, we will be correcting all the ADA deficiencies on that segment, so that'll be a key part of the project. We'll need to install some new stormwater, certainly some new inlets, maybe a little bit of piping, so we'll get an upgrade to our stormwater system on that segment. And that will probably trigger a little bit of off-site stormwater treatment, so we have that factored into the budget. We will be resurfacing Lancaster Drive. The project will pay for a portion, but for the majority of it, we might actually kick in some county dollars and take advantage of being there to get a little extra pavement work done using county funds outside of the limits of the project to just take advantage of the good pricing we'll get from a large project. And we'll also be installing durable pavement striping so we don't have to get in there on that busy corridor and restripe the road quite so often. So that's what we are tackling with the project. And this gives you a snapshot of the budget and the schedule. Total project budget is about $2.6 million. This project has a 10.27% match, and we'll easily make that $270,000 contribution through county labor donated to the project. And the schedule that we've been assigned through the STIP is to start design work later this year. It'll take us about a year to get into right-of-way acquisition. We have all the right-of-way we need for permanent construction, but we do need construction easements to rebuild those driveways. And that should put us into the start of construction in early 2021. All right, any questions I can answer?
Hey, Brian, could you go back to the first slide that shows how far down we're going on Lancaster?
Yeah.
So we had a situation, I can't talk because I'm over the microphone. Where's that business that we were talking about?
Oh,
It's above State Street, so it's right in here someplace, right? Okay, so this isn't going to impact.
Okay. Do you have another question?
No, I just wanted to see if it was going to be in front of that business that we
Right.
had talked about recently.
yeah, this is Office Max Hometown Buffet.
Office Max.
That's correct.
Right, so
Yes.
there's a thrift store in that. So my question is, you know, we generally, as a rule, are trying to make it so that there aren't as many on and offs on these main streets. Was there consideration, because you can get on, is it Auburn on the one side where Office Max is, and you can get on through Center Street where Center Street where the liquor store is on that side, and there's lights. And I'm thinking, like, when you come out on Center Street, there's no barrier there, so you can actually get by the little median that they have for the left turn lane, which they would probably be closing off those front ones when they're doing the repairs anyway, and people start getting used to kind of coming in on the side streets. So what's the conversation around maybe permanently making it so that people aren't, because they're really skinny openings as well. And
There's a lot of
and it
driveways.
causes a lot of cross traffic in the parking lot that, you know, people are coming in and trying to go around and that kind of thing. So what's the thought around that?
Well, the thought is there's a lot of business accesses right along here, and you're right, they're all narrow. The thought is to consolidate those into two, one towards the south end, one towards the north end on Lancaster, consolidate them into two primary entrances, make them nice and wide, easy to accessible, so there's not a visual obstruction to those properties. So it doesn't make people shy away from going in. It should be real easy to see how to get in there. We'll need to engage those properties in some conversation to make sure that what we intend to do or what we would prefer to do works. You always want to look for a win-win, so we'll be engaging those property owners to get their input. This business right here, it's got this driveway and this one, so we'll have to talk about how that works. It's really nice to not have entrances this close to an
Right.
intersection.
Well, can I just point out?
Sure.
I probably can't talk either, but
We have portable mics.
Here
Yep,
and
up there.
here, you can get it, and you can access all the businesses from there. I mean, it's not like, it's not like it's Kaiser Station, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they're like really far apart, they're all together. So that was just my question about why you would need even anything off of Lancaster at all.
Or having just, on Lancaster, just have an ingress and then
Right, yeah.
outgress going north.
And then encourage people to use, because you have left turn signals on those lights, I think,
Yeah.
actually, on both of them. So it allows people, I mean, it makes it much more orderly. I generally, if I'm coming,
Reducing
if I'm
cross-traffic.
coming from the south, I actually have gone in on that, but it's 6 one, half a dozen the other. And when I go out, because I'm turning left to go back, I never turn out, because it's just like taking your life in your hands most of the time to try to turn left on Lancaster, so.
Yeah, it would reduce the cross-traffic, et
Yeah.
cetera. But
Right.
you guys are engineering that, right?
Right, it just.
Yes,
it's-
our
yeah.
traffic group definitely dives into that.
I mean,
And
I
this
would,
is one
I
of the
would,
situations.
I would encourage that, because it's just, it just,
Keep the flow.
yeah, Lancaster's just be a big mess, and it just
I'll
increases
share
the
your
noise.
feedback with our traffic engineer. This is one of the situations where there's a lot of competing interests and trade-offs to be made. If you limit access to just the side streets, well, even as it stands right now, these queues at a normal signal come all the way back to here, and it makes it really hard to get out. You have to wait for the light to change and this queue to change and then get out. So there's limited capacity for queuing length, so there's a lot of trade-offs.
But if
to
you had an
consider.
out further up, just an out where you couldn't come in.
Yeah, there's already, and there's a driveway here.
Yeah,
right
I've
now.
never been on that Auburn Road where there's been a long line.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, I have.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've been, just yesterday, checking out a few things and that.
and it was long.
But it was in. it
Might
was-
be the time of day that I go,
Time of day.
because it's usually after 5 when I'm down there, so.
Yeah. So this is one of those complex sort of trade-off situations. Our traffic group does a full analysis of
Okay.
these.
All right.
Yeah. But one of the things we will be looking at is, at the very least, consolidating all of these driveways into a few compliant driveways. Yeah.
So is there a left turn lane on Auburn right there?
There's a Center Refuge right here for left turn.
Right.
And this is a through and right
Yeah,
turn.
exactly.
Yep. Any
Okay.
questions?
Nope, we all have opinions, all right?
Well, I'll definitely share those with the traffic
Yeah.
group. Make
All
sure we
right,
look
great.
at each of those.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the, what is this? Is an
Madam Chair, I'll move. that-
intergovernmental agreement?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'll move that we approve the incoming funds intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation for $2,355,412.50 to provide federal funds for the Lancaster Drive project.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the intergovernmental agreement with ODOT. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 That's approved. Thank you. So last item, Brandon Reich, public hearing to consider the application for mass gathering case number 18-002, White Wind Woodland LLC.
Hi, good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Brandon Reich, staff representing the Planning Division of Public Works. The applicant is on her way. She is currently in traffic. She's coming from Silverton.
Hopefully not on Lancaster.
Yeah.
No, she's on the Parkway, the last we talked. And there are comments received in the mail just today that I'd like her to take a look at while I'm doing my presentation, so she can respond during, and I want to share those with the board.
Do we want to take a recess then until she gets here? Maybe we ought to do that.
Yes, please, if
All right,
possible.
so let's recess this public hearing, and when the applicant gets here, we'll reconvene.
Thank you.
All right. All right, we have our applicant here. Thank you very much. Glad traffic, I understand traffic entirely. And so we will reconvene our public hearing. And the matter that we are considering today is it's a public hearing to consider the application for mass gathering number 18
2022-002 White Wind Woodland LLC. So we have Brandon Reich first.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, again, Brandon Reich, staff representing the Planning Division of Public Works. The item before you is the application of White Wind Woodland LLC for a small mass gathering permit on exclusive farm use zone property located at 6518 Cascade Highway Northeast, Silverton. The property is located on the south side of Cascade Highway on the southwest corner of Cascade Highway and Valley View Road. Surrounding properties consist of properties in farm use and timbered property in the farm zone. The applicant is requesting to hold a Renaissance-era fair and a Wild West show as a small mass gathering. The event would take place on July 21, 22 this year, July 28, 29 this year, August 11 through 12 this year, and August 18 through 19 this year. Estimated attendance is between 1,500 and 2,000 people. Based on this information, the proposed event meets the definition of a small gathering. According to the information submitted with the application, sound amplification will be used, alcohol will be available, and fireworks will not be used or shown. The applicant states sound amplification will be used at noon and 4 during shows. There will be no amplified sound after 11 p.m. or before 9 a.m. on any day. The mass gathering ordinance requires the applicant to coordinate with various governmental agencies to ensure there are adequate facilities and services available. These agencies include Marion County Public Works, the Sheriff, Environmental Health, Risk Management, and the local fire district, which in this case is Silverton. Each of these agencies was provided with a copy of the request and given an opportunity to comment on its requirements. All of the Marion County agencies approved the plans submitted by the applicant, or they've requested final permits prior to the date of the event. The Silverton Fire District requested that the applicant allow it to inspect the property prior to the event. The board has the options to continue the public hearing, close the public hearing and leave the record open, close the public hearing and approve, deny, or modify the proposal. Staff recommends the board approve the request subject to the recommended conditions of approval. And with that, I'm available for any questions you may have.
Great. Well, and I should know your name, but since you didn't get here on time and you haven't signed up on my sheet, I didn't.
I am Nancy White.
Nancy White, thank you. You've been here every year, and I should know who you are.
10 years now.
Yes, I know, really. Okay, so would you introduce yourself and make any comments that you'd like to make before we get into questions?
Sure. My name is Nancy White. I'm the owner and the host of the Canterbury Renaissance Fair and the White Winds Wild West. The Wild West, you're familiar with the fair, but the West is a interactive, entertaining Old West town. That's what we're doing. Everything that I put in the application is absolutely accurate. I will be happy to address these questions if this is the right time to do so. Okay, so a neighbor whom I have never met, has never talked to me. I have no idea who this person is. He says he lives very close. His big concern was the parking. He says they park on a grass stubble field, which is high fire danger. Yeah, yes, but the grass is like super, super short. And we were on there last year, and of course there was no issues. In fact, we've never had any issues in the 10 years we've been operating the fair. It is right now in grass seed, and the farmer is Kevin Lowe, and he will be taking it out, harvesting the seed, and cuts the stuff down to like shorter than your lawn grass. I suppose it could be a fire danger, but you know, it'd be like anybody driving on any grass that doesn't, and it's very, very short. I can't say that I see that as totally safe, because of course it is on the grass, but we've been parking on the grass all these 10 years and never had an issue. His next concern was where the event is held is in dry grass, 2 feet tall, with 6 feet high berry bushes and young timber with extreme fire danger. Well, the grass is, I suppose there's places where it's 2 feet high, but we're nowhere near that. I own the 80 acres, free and clear, and I don't want it to burn up. If I thought it was a danger, we would cut it down. The 6 foot high berry bushes, we're nowhere near them either. Who wants to be near berry bushes? The young timber, we also don't get back in there either. If you've ever seen a picture of the property, which you probably haven't, there's the field down below, and then there's about, I don't know, 15 acres or so where the fair actually is. and that's in a mature oak grove area, and it's very park-like. And then behind that is very tight Doug fir. We don't even go in there. We call that the forbidden forest. Nobody is allowed in there. So I don't see that as an issue. The noise, the loudspeaker, he said, I do not like the loudspeaker noise every few minutes during the event. The only time there's a loudspeaker going is during the joust, which is at 12 and 4. And other than that, we don't use any amplification of any kind. We have considered doing it at the stages, because there's 3 stages of entertainment, but to date, we haven't done that. And that would be only contained in that one area, because if we didn't, our entertainment would end up jumping on top of each other. So, you know, I don't understand why he thinks we've got a loudspeaker going all the time. So those shows at 12 and 4 are only an hour, or actually even a little less. In the Western show, they are also the same group, is doing Wild Bill's Wild Western Stunt Show, and there is amplification there, as I put in the the application. And that too is only for an hour and probably even less than an hour. Other than that, we do not use any amplification at all. We are also very, very get down on our people for being quiet at 10 o'clock, not 11, but 10. And, you know, they have to be quiet up until 9 in the morning. My daughter, who is an adult, she's 31, and she's done site safety for several years now, heads up site safety. She's actually camping there. So, you know, she's well aware of the noise. Last year we did have an issue where somebody, and it wasn't us, actually fired off train horn. And I was at home and I heard it at home. I live over on the Mount Angel Highway, even though I own this property as well. And it was like, wow, that's weird. But it wasn't us. It turns out it was somebody, you know, a quarter mile away. But we got blamed for it because, hey, we're the logical choice. I understand, but it truly was not us. So we are extremely aware of our noise, and, you know, we want to keep playing. So, you know, we keep it pretty quiet. But Abigail being there has never heard any issues. Because, you know, like I said, it did come up last year, but it was not us, it was someone else. Let's see, and then there are structures on the property that are left year-round. That I don't understand. First of all, how would he even know that? Because you'd have to go up the hill into the area to see any structures at all. The only structures that are completely removable. They are not connected permanently to the ground. We have a stage for the Queen at the jousting at the jousting arena, and we also have a 10 by 15 little shed down at the bottom by the field. Other than that, and that is also sitting on pylons. It can be removed. Other than that, there are no structures on that property. So I don't understand why, you know, this was even brought up. I just don't get it. So
Thank you.
He's either going on the property or he's guessing, one of the two.
Thank you for addressing the comments. So let me just make a couple comments of my own. So noise, we have noise parameters, right?
Aye.
And I'm not talking to Brandon, all right?
Oh.
So thank you. So,
Correct.
yeah, right. So that's like between, I can't remember what time in the morning, 8, 10, something?
It's 9 to 11.
9 to 11, all right. So noise in between those times, as long as the decibel level isn't over what's allowable, is not a violation of county code, correct?
Correct. And it's amplified sound, and amplified sound is only proposed here, like noon to 1, 4 to 5.
Exactly. So that's within the daytime hours, so that's perfectly permissible. And then, is there any code that does not allow structures on the property year-round, or?
The mass gathering code prohibits permanent structures associated with the mass gathering. And it sounds like these structures are temporary, and maybe they're even used, maybe they're transformed for the event from some other use during parts of the year.
Right, thank you. And then we've had her, the applicant's Nancy's testimony about the event being held outside of the dry grass and tall, and the young timber.
The fire department.
I'm sorry, did you want to comment on that one?
Yeah, the fire department inspects the property,
Right.
has it every year, and
Right.
that's a condition of approval that they would look at the site. If there are concerns, Silverton Fire District is very active and would
Right.
require
That's what I
those
was
to be
going to
addressed.
say that as well. And I know like at the state fair, we park on grass also all the
Yes.
time for the Marion County Fair. So, and it's not even stubble. In many cases, it's long grass. So, all right. Any other comments or questions or concerns about the letter that we received?
Madam Chair, if I may, so Silverton Fire, it says in section 9.25. So they're actually going to come out once this permit's granted and look. And I guess the question would be, is there fire extinguishers on the premise in case something did happen? Obviously, it hasn't.
Water tanks.
Water tanks. Is there anything?
I would like to address that, if you would, please.
Thank you.
I do have 750 gallons on a mobile trailer that we keep filled all the time, and we also keep the dust down with that as well. And it has a large pump on it, so it's, we can pump it out, refill them, and, it's on a trailer, we can go anywhere we want with it. And we keep it loaded at site safety, which is, that's our area where it's kind of in the middle of everything, down by the field. So yes, and also I require that all my vendors have a functional fire extinguisher in their booth or at their booth. Also, I encourage them to do it at camping as well. And we only allow participant camping, no public camping.
If I may.
Sure.
So I guess my concern or my question would be, does the Silverton Fire District come out and require that and review those and inspect those things before?
Aye, that they do.
They sign
I
off.
have already talked to the fire chief, Bill Miles, and he has, and before that it was Ron Parvin, but Ron's moved on, and so now Mr. Miles is handling it, and he is the fire chief. We have already talked, and, as soon as it gets approved, usually they come out like 2 weeks before and then just before. But we have we're very much aware of the emergency lanes, and they're all designed to accommodate a 15-foot fire truck for the height and the width and the being able to get a big rig around there, around the trees and things. So we have a road that we're actually planning on graveling off this year. And so the access would be easy.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So there is no one else signed up to testify and no one else in the room. So I don't think I need to ask if there's anyone else that wants to testify. Any comments or further questions from the board or Brendan, anything you want to
Nothing
add?
further. Thank you.
All right, so looking for a motion to close the public hearing and
All right,
whatever action you'd like to propose.
I would make a motion that we do close the public hearing and approve the application for mass gathering case 18002 White Wind Woodland. I'm just going to interrupt now because there's some ongoing nature to this. We won't be reviewing it annually. Maybe we should discuss that a little bit before we...
Sure. The board last year adopted a provision that small mass gatherings can be approved for 5 years, for an initial year, then renewed for up to 4 additional years. So the renewal is through planning, through the planning director. And for instance, if they receive these kinds of comments, we'll review the applicant will make an application, will renew the permit. The neighboring property owners will get a copy of the renewal. And if we got comments like these in the future, we would work with the property owner, the applicant, to address these, similar like how we did today, to ensure the fire department is going to go out, to ensure they're meeting the noise requirements and such. If there were a concern that the applicant isn't not meeting the conditions of approval, then the plan director, instead of renewing the permit, will be able to send that back to the board for another hearing to review what's been going on the property.
Just following up, I'm happy enough with the procedure. I'm only thinking about if there are concerns or complaints that somehow the board be aware of them, and you didn't list anything that would do that. I know the procedure's set, but...
Okay, we can make sure the board knows about those. Okay. We can do that at a management update meeting.
May I make
All
a
right.
comment? We want to continue to play. We will do everything we can do to make sure that our public is safe, our people are safe, the ground is safe, the trees. It's really important to me. We're busting our butt to make sure everything is going to keep everybody's safe and happy.
I appreciate that. My question wasn't just for your case, it was
Aye.
for all others, because this question went through my mind. If there aren't things, how would we ever know? But,
We'll be sure to communicate.
so there's a motion.
All right, so there's a motion to, is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second the original motion.
Okay, there's a motion to close the public hearing and to approve the application for this mass gathering case. Any further discussion? Just a comment, and I don't know what your comfort level is with this, I'll just throw it out there. Sometimes it doesn't do any good, but sometimes it does do some good now that you know who this person is, just to reach out to them and say, hey, you know, it'd be nice if you have concerns. Here's my contact information.
There is a phone number here, and I
yeah.
will contact with him.
Great, okay.
Got to keep my neighbors happy.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so with no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
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 All right, it's approved.
Thank you.
Have fun.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes our board business for today. I'll read the Wednesday calendar. These are meetings where 2 or 3 commissioners will be present. We've just concluded our board session here in the Senator Hearing Room at Courthouse Square. It is still Wednesday, June 13th. Tomorrow, June 14th, Thursday, 7:30 in the morning. Commissioners will be at the Kaiser Marion County Breakfast Meeting at Sherry's Restaurant at 4998 River Road North in Kaiser. Be followed by a Marion County Extension and 4-H District Public Hearing and Board Meeting at 9:30 here at Courthouse Square in the Silverton Conference Room on the 5th floor. At noon tomorrow in the Commissioners Boardroom here at Courthouse Square, there's a employee town hall, the first of 2 employee town halls, just on state of the county budget, those types of topics. At 1 o'clock, a work session, facilities project update, that's in the Silverton Conference Room on the 5th floor. And then from 3 to 5 is our annual Board of Directors, and it's actually a Budget Committee meeting for the Mid-Valley Behavioral Care Network. And that is at 550 Hawthorne Avenue Southeast, Suite 140 in Salem. On Friday, June 15th at 11:30 a.m. is a Safe Families Program discussion at the Newport Seafood Grill, 1717 Freeway Court Northeast in Salem. Then on Monday, June 18th at 8:30 is our weekly calendar review, Silverton Conference Room, Courthouse Square, followed by management update at 9, followed by a Public Safety Coordinating Council planning meeting at 11, both of those in the Silverton Conference Room. At noon is the second employee town hall. This is on June 18th, Monday, and that one will be over at the Health Department building at 3180 Center Street Northeast in Salem in the Silver Falls Conference Room. And then at 2 o'clock, we're back in the Silverton Conference Room here at Courthouse Square for a service district meeting where we will be adopting budgets for 4 service districts. On Tuesday, June 19th at 9 is a work session on the Health and Human Services Strategic Planning Process. That will be in the Silverton Conference Room here at Courthouse Square. Followed with, at 11, with the Salem Area Chamber of Commerce CEO meeting at 2020 Commercial Street Northeast in Salem. 11:30 is a Marion County Reentry Initiative Planning meeting in the Silverton Conference Room on the 5th floor. And then on Wednesday, a week from today, June 20th, at 8:30 will be our regular Wednesday board session in the Senator Hearing Room here at Courthouse Square. And you will note that we're starting a half an hour before when we usually do for our board business at 8:30 rather than 9, and we've noticed a public hearing at 9 o'clock. This will be the hearing on the Jefferson Music Festival. We're anticipating that we might have a few people here to testify, so we want to have our schedule free a half an hour earlier so that we can get through all of the testimony in a timely way and hopefully be out by lunchtime.
Do we have a place they can tie up horses out in front of the building for next week?
I don't
Those that
know.
ride the horses in?
Don't know. We'll have to figure that out.
Accommodate.
Talk to the condo association about that, or the city.
I was going to say one more thing, but
We have to
I've
be-
learned
we have
my
to be
lesson.
careful
I'm not gonna
because
say
this is a
anything.
land use proceeding.
no, I
so-
was just thinking about horses, though.
Oh, okay. Sure.
It has nothing to do with land use.
Okay.
Well, could.
Well, you have anything else you want to add about horses? No.
I was at the rodeo last weekend, so I'm thinking about horses.
Okay.
Those bucks, the Bronco, man, those guys. Whew. How do they do that?
Generally not very long.
I know, 8 seconds, right?
Well, no, but.
But, yeah, your
Quality.
lifespan, yeah.
So anything
Look for music
newsworthy that we
festival
want
and
to
rodeo.
comment on, now that we have exhausted our discussion about horses? Trying to see if there's anything. I went to a housing workshop yesterday, Ashley Marshall went too, sponsored by Association of Oregon Counties, League of Cities, Oregon Housing and Community Services, and Department of Land Conservation and Development. And they have different grant programs. A lot of small communities, cities represented either by staff or city council members. And I was just going to mention Heidi Bell from Donald
Yes.
was there. And she and I'm not remembering now the name of the staff person that was there that from DLCD. But between the two of them, they presented a success story, which was the housing, workforce housing that they're working on up in Donald, which also will result in a land use hearing
Yes,
that we're
I
going to
was
have to hear.
thinking
So
about that.
but I'll just say that Heidi did a very excellent job doing the presentation. And what was interesting to me was all of the process that they've gone through with community visioning and surveys and working obviously with various partners, and they were able to get a grant from the Department of Land Conservation and Development to get a rare volunteer, I guess they call them, and, like an intern that's been working with them and working with university students, just because they're in, and you've heard her talk about this, but just because they're in such a small jurisdiction, and she said their entire property tax collections for the year are less than $60,000, I think. So they've got to really be resourceful, creative about how they get this work done. And she is just really a ball of dynamite. I don't know how to describe it. She's got a lot of energy, and you can tell she really maximizes the connections that she has in order to get things done for Donald. So that, I was just going to say they're very lucky to have her there
Yes.
as their, is she the city manager? Is that her
Yeah,
title?
city recorder,
City recorder,
manager,
I was trying to
yeah.
remember. Yeah, so anyway, that was fun. I got to welcome them from Marion County since we were in Marion County. That was fun too.
So the governor's office has been involved with that as well, Regional Solutions?
Yep, James LeBar was
Yeah.
there. He brought his
Yeah.
daughter Mabel yesterday.
Oh, I haven't met her.
Yeah, she was, in fact, I saw him walking, I don't know if he had a meeting here yesterday, but as I was driving back to the office, I had to leave early, he was walking back and holding Mabel's hand as he went across the street here by Courthouse Square. She introduced her, by the way, that was really
How old is
nice.
she?
Oh, I'm not sure how old she looked like she might be somewhere between 7, 8, maybe 9, I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell. But he introduced himself, and you know how usually like a parent will introduce their daughter, right? But he just said, "I'm James LeBar, Regional Solutions." And then she said, "My name is Mabel, and I am here with my father." And she just spoke right up, and then everybody laughed, and then she looked like she was uncomfortable because the whole room was chuckling, so it was really cute.
It's interesting, because one of the comments, I went to the governor's budget meeting that she had at Chemeketa Business Center. Staff presented, then she came in for the last probably 15, 20 minutes. Salem Health was there, Cheryl was there for half of it, and their CFO and their COO. A lot of people were there from Yamhill County. But one of the things that came up was that whole workforce housing issue, and they kind of sidestepped the land use stuff, right? And the governor admitted that a lot of these small jurisdictions just do not have the resources to get through the process to expand, to get ready to do their urban growth expansion. So, I mean, that's one of those things we recognize that we can help in our small jurisdictions wherever we can, but it's a struggle. I mean, look
Right.
at all the resources that are taking place to just get Donald to a point where we can potentially have an issue that comes before us, right?
Right, and so they were going through the different steps that you have to do before you actually get to a UGB expansion. That's why I was asking Brandon kind of where we fit with the unincorporated areas of the county when we had that break. But, and he was saying that we're in with Salem, but
they had $1.7 million, I guess, that was allocated to DLCD, and they're giving $1,000 grants to these different communities to help them get through this, and the deadline is Friday. So if you want $1,000 in your small jurisdiction, you have to apply by Friday, but you were saying they would help them through the process and all of that. But there were Troutdale, Willamina, Gresham, Kenna was there.
I was just gonna ask,
Right, and
yes.
her mayor, let me think who else. I mean, there were probably 50, 60 people there.
And
from-
where was
And most
this?
of them it was over at where we have the AOC Legislative Committee meetings, in that big room. So there were like 4 or 5 rows of maybe like 10 people. John Morgan, I don't know if you know him, but he does,
Yes.
Pacific Program, lives in Kaiser, and does a lot of consulting work. So, and we had, Staten was represented, Keith was there. I'm trying to think who else from Marion County. Silverton was represented. So, yeah, anyway, it was, Jefferson was there too. Very interesting workshop. Just to see everybody.
Yeah. I do have a couple I could bring. One I don't really want to, I think I'm just, like everybody else started talking about, but the water issue goes on. We've been pretty actively involved, and I'm very happy with the job Ed Flick and staff have done.
Yeah.
That's been swell. The other, and I feel like I asked or talked to you about this, but there was a big reversal on marbled merlet. Did I tell you this?
Well, we were talking about it last week, and you were concerned about it, and it came out right after we had the meeting last week.
Well, they had
When-
a hearing in Bend, and what the issue was is they're gonna make it an Oregon listing of this bird, even though the numbers are increasing and they don't even know where they nest. I mean, just so vague, and it would have truly been a threat to any forced activities from 0 to 60 miles from the coastline. And the Fish and Wildlife Department reversed, and it's really a big win, but they keep trying.
Right, so we had a report on, I think they were in Baker City.
Yes, it was big.
Right, and I don't know the name of the gentleman, I'm trying to remember what county he was from, that
Probably
spoke at the
Tim
legislative
Freeman
committee.
or
No,
Simon
it wasn't
Aaron?
Tim. It's from one of the eastern counties, maybe, not Klamath. Anyway, he went along with 3 other county commissioners, and I think Susan Morgan went and they spoke, and so he was talking about the power of, coming in and doing that. But also, we approved, I think, some money for a study or something like that. I think they're still working on it through AOC
Okay.
for them to make sure that, that we have the evidence or whatever, that's not needing to be listed. that way.
Anyway, at this point, it's a lot better situation,
Yeah. Definitely.
perhaps. Is that what
Yeah.
you're telling me?
Time,
For
Well,
now,
they keep
right?
right. They'll come back,
Yeah, well, with that or something else.
right?
Snail darters, we haven't heard about them for a while. Grouse, we've tried.
Labrador retrievers.
Yeah, sage grouse was part of the discussion too. So, and that's pretty crazy. So we actually approved a letter on the sage grouse.
Was there anything at Woodburn? It was, I had to leave, did we
I had to leave early
Yeah.
to go to West Lynn.
I went till 1:15. So
Yeah, I
I
did
stayed till the very end to represent our county with that
Staten,
group.
yesterday was Staten breakfast.
I did not go to that because I went to the housing thing and I had to welcome them at 9, so.
It's a good turnout.
I'm trying to think what we got out of there. Still looking for people to work from Jim Rasmussen and Modern Building, and hearing more and more that I'm seeing more written. Nick Harville's always talking that there's no truck drivers nor truck and trailer availability, and things aren't moving, and there's lots of issues there.
One of the things we did hear is that Jim Rasmussen has 2 CTE employees working, or CTE students working, and Boley's given some leeway to some of the power tools that they need to have. So we'll follow up with that, see if we can, those are the kinds of things we need to break down, get
Yes.
these kids more experience and get them, they can get paid while they're in high school,
And
make
be-
some money,
And be ready and attractive to
be hired by many people.
immediate.
Nick, that was one thing Nick said, that contractors were stopping by the job site where they're building that house and actually interviewing the kids
recruiting.
and talking to kids,
Oh,
say, you need to
wonderful.
come to work for me. Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful.
So anything else?
No, you probably don't care about Oregon State this weekend, but I do. Otherwise,
When's the
it's
series start?
Saturday at noon for us,
Is
I
it?
think. If I had it right.
Yeah, so it's just so you know how bad things are at my house, so I came home and I said, hey, I saw John Morgan today. And I hadn't seen him for so long, and my son and my husband go, who's John Morgan? I say, well, it's Pacific Pro, and they go, oh, like, of course they wouldn't know who he is, and they go, do you know who Joe Morgan is? And I said, no, never heard of Joe Morgan, and they're like, really?
Then what do you know?
Right, I know, exactly. So that's my life.
All right.
So anything else? We are adjourned.